to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, I will call the meeting to order. The first thing we usually do is we have an open public forum. If there's anybody that is here that would like to say something, you have 2 minutes to talk. If not, we will. Okay. Yes, ma'am.
My name is Lucinda Riedfeld. I live at 306 South Redwood Street. I'm talking about the property behind my house. We don't want it. It's your guys's. We got to come to something because I don't want to take care of it anymore. I've done it for 9 years.
Right.
And I get nothing out of it. I can't plant trees. I can't put fences. I can't put nothing on that property to help me out.
Right.
So we need to figure out something. Because this is getting old. And all the harassments and just everything. We're done.
Okay.
So is there anything that you guys can do to help out?
The bills that you had this year have been pulled. So,
And what about the fines that we had to pay from Karen?
I don't.
We mowed this summer for the very first time. She came around the block and didn't see us mow that yard. She wrote us a ticket for $50. Or I think it's 50, it might be more.
Okay. Well, during this forum, we don't usually discuss anything. We just listen to what you're saying, and then we can act on it at a later time, but we don't do it at this forum, since it's not on the agenda.
Okay.
But we understand, we hear what you're talking about, and we're aware of the problem.
And for Oscar to come and mow it, is there any way that we can make a path on the curb so he can easily get into it?
Yeah, I think we would have to talk to them at the time and see what works.
Okay.
All right,
Appreciate it.
thank you. Is there anyone else that would like? If not, we're going to approve the agenda. Rob, do you have anything?
No, sir.
Pete?
Not at the moment, no.
Dale? Oh, I'm sorry, Julie?
Wow.
Dale?
No, Mr. Mayor. You're welcome, Julie.
Okay. I am going to pull
You're losing it.
item C, resolution to certify nuisance cleanup charges to Sibley County Auditor. We did approve that last month. If, Jenny, do you have anything to add or not? No. If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve the agenda. Motion made by Julie,
Second.
seconded by Rob. All those in favor, or any further discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Consent agenda. Does anybody have any questions about this? As far as the liquor licenses go, everyone has brought in their insurance and has paid their, okay. If there's no questions.
Motion.
Oh, go ahead. Motion made by Dale to go ahead and approve the consent agenda,
Second. Or Mark.
seconded by Mark. Is there any further discussion? If not, proceed to vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. We're now going to open up the public hearing for the truth in taxation. And I think what I want to do right now is, Jenny, what are the new numbers that we have come up with?
At the work session, the city council voted to take $30,000 out of unallocated reserves to offset the levy increase, which brings us currently at a 2.22% increase over last year, or a levy of $850,621.
Questions? So the total levy this year is,
$850,621.
2.2% over last year.
Correct.
Is there anyone out here that has any comments? Is there a time limit on how long we have to have the public hearing open?
Put a minute on the record at least.
Yeah,
Okay,
I think you have,
yeah, yeah, we got 2 minutes.
given an opportunity for people to speak already.
yeah.
He's
Anybody
gonna
has
make the
any
Jeopardy
questions?
song noise.
Is your budget available for the public to?
Absolutely.
This doesn't reflect the minutes that were made earlier.
The increase that was, that we had to certify, what was that percentage increase originally?
14,
14%?
or was it 18?
It was 14.
14?
And the reason we set that budget higher is that we can take away money from the budget. We can decrease the budget, but we cannot increase it. So we try to make sure that we're catching everything to begin with, and then we can go back over and tighten things up. And it also gives us a chance to see where we are at the end of the year. I just want to make sure I'm giving him some time to take a look.
Anyone else want to look at it?
That might be a good idea in the future too, to have recognition for anybody who's here
Right.
tonight.
To have some
Or wanna
copies
look at
here.
it.
And at any time you want to see the budget, you have the right to see that.
Yeah, you can just give us a call or whatever. We can email it to her, but you can pick it up or whatever.
Any other questions? Concerns? If not, I will close the the truth and taxation hearing. And under new business, we have the resolution approving the final 2019 tax levy, call it
And
2020.
that will be at the 850,
2.2%.
yep.
$850,621.
$621.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion made by Rob to approve the final budget, seconded by Dale. Is there any further discussion? Any further discussion? If not, we'll proceed to vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. We had interviews earlier with a couple of people that applied for the council position. At this time, is there's any discussion on it? Otherwise, we will, the person that was chosen was Lynn Drinko.
Yep.
I'll entertain a resolution to
Motion.
a motion to accept Lynn.
Sorry.
I move we accept Lynn as the new city council person.
Second.
Motion made by Julie, seconded by Pete. Go ahead and accept Lynn Drinko as the new council person. Is there any further discussion? Any further discussion? If not, proceed to vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. And Mark did not vote on
Mark
that.
abstained,
Yep.
yeah.
And we pulled C. Resolution amending the resolution establishing the Winthrop Economic Development Authority. So basically what they would be doing is going by state statute?
Yes.
That is correct?
So this was,
What's that?
I think this was the result of some confusion as to the intention of the council as far as the establishment resolution. It could be read as to requiring any action by the EDA to be approved by the council. Now, I don't think that was the council's intent, but the resolution was not clear, so it could be interpreted to require that. So that's part of it. The other part was, I gotta get it in front of me. So the proposed, that part of it is to open it up so that the EDA can exercise any powers permitted by law without that second layer of approval by the council. Otherwise, the EDA would be just basically an advisory board that says, hey, we think you should do this. Hey, council, do you want to do this? And it,
They can own their own property now, they don't have to pay
that is allowable by statute.
statute.
So in my experience, the other cities that I work with, the EDAs do own their own real estate. They conduct their own business affairs. They are a separate political subdivision from the city. They have their own liability and tort and contract. So,
So if they make a mistake, that's,
correct.
okay. And what authority, if any, does the council have then?
Essentially for the appointment of the members, the funding, the amount that they can allocate of their levy, so they can do that. But it's really up to the city council how much they want to oversee or,
Okay.
the business affairs of the EDA.
Discussion.
So the EDA was operating under a set of bylaws since its inception that they haven't actually been following. They've been following state law. So they were supposed to be bringing everything that they did before the council for approval under the current rules, which are talking about changing. So my question is, who's going to be held responsible for that violation of those rules?
Now.
It's been going on.
My
Rules
understanding
say
is,
that everything has to go in front of the council for approval, and they have not been doing it.
okay, my understanding though, of what you were trying to say, Aaron, is that it could be interpreted two different ways?
So the current one says, and I'm looking at the 1992 establishing resolution, it says limits of powers. The following limits are hereby imposed upon the actions of the Winthrop EDA. The authority must not exercise any powers without the prior approval of the city council. So what does that mean?
Yeah,
Prior
to me,
approval
that
of city
doesn't say that every single action has to come before the city council.
And to me, it does.
So there you go. That's the,
And that's why we're changing the rules to follow the state rules, which they have been following, although they never brought their own bylaws up to match the state laws. So we have a violation of their bylaws. How do we deal with it?
Would it go back to the intent of the council at that time when they created it?
well, I think you've identified the,
And if
Again,
we're, I mean,
you understand where I'm coming from?
well.
There's other
yeah,
things in their
mean,
bylaws that they have not been following.
So that's what the purpose of this
But what do you
resolution
do
is
to the people or persons that did that, that
I-
did not follow the rules?
I think that they were acting in good faith. I
Okay,
think that
then
they
what do
were-
we do to make sure they don't do it again in the future?
We have a resolution.
All right.
I think I think this covers it. Having been on the EDA for a few years, I don't think that it's in the best interest of Winthrop or economic development to have to bring every.
I agree,
you
but
know,
those were the
small-
rules.
And, it's not a perfect world. I don't think everybody reads the bylaws.
That's the
and
problem
every
right there.
organization And we should, but not everybody has the time to do that, and I don't think anybody had any ill intent at all. And I think that when it was set up, the council, like, I don't believe that their intent was that everything had to be brought before the council.
I think there's things that do need to come in front of the council. And that's not addressed in the state statutes now. We can add them.
But if it's its own entity, this council has the right to appoint and allocate funding. That's, you've got pretty tight control there.
Okay.
But I really think it's in the best interest to have this resolution going forward. It's not unlike, I'm on the county library board. The Board of Commissioners appoints the people to that board, and they allocate money to us. And after that point, the county library board decides what goes where and how it's spent. And the county commissioners, you know, there's one representative on our board, but they can't say, you must do this, you must do that, you can't do this, you can't do that.
All right, so if they're independent, why do we have council members on them?
Because it's an
If,
business city. I mean, it,
Is that in statute that council members serve on it, or is that our purview to decide that?
Don't think that's by statute. I
Okay,
think
so then that's part
the-
of our control.
okay, so where is that on our going forward rules? Because it's not in there. Do you see my point? So if you want to go with these rules, I'm fine with that. Then we need to take our council members off the EDA and then establish the rules and put them back on. If you want to make the EDA an independent organization, they need to be an independent organization. Period.
but in a like manner, I mean, the county commissioner sits on the library board, which is, you know, very similar in,
But nowhere in the state statute does it say we can have, it doesn't say we can or can't have council members on it.
Correct.
That's up to us
The-
to put that in there.
The current resolution says that at least 2 members shall be members of the council.
Correct. And does the new
No.
statute address that at all?
I'm looking.
I don't see it.
Sorry, Pete, didn't mean to give you a headache.
Me, Eddie?
Yeah,
No.
okay.
I think it'd be advisable to have,
I'm not saying it
Some
shouldn't.
council
I want
on
to see
there.
it in writing. I want to see all the rules that we'd like to put in place before we do this. We should do it all in one shot. Let's not do it piecemeal. Because there are things the EDA should have to bring in front of us.
So the statute says if it's a 7-member authority, 2 must be members of the council. Shall be appointed by the
That's
mayor
ours.
with the approval of the city council.
And that's the
You see,
current
that's-
bylaws.
current.
And,
statute.
and
That's the
statute,
And statute. okay.
and
That
statute.
we're,
All right.
we're saying
Stand
we'll follow,
corrected.
so, okay, good. So it is covered by, not written in there, but it's written in there that says that statute, so, okay.
Yeah, that's 469.095.
Okay.
and they have to be audited every year also.
They are now.
Correct?
yeah.
Yeah. The other, I should point out, the other change that was proposed was a clarification for conflict of interest rules. And that is covered by Minnesota statute 471.88. And the last sentence on the paragraph 2 of the resolution was something that I was suggesting just to put an extra layer of, I guess, clarification that when there is a disqualifying conflict of interest, the person should not even participate in discussion, voting.
On the board.
Let's see, any other requirements imposed by applicable law, which would be 471.88. If a commissioner, officer, or an employee of the Winthrop EDA has a conflict of interest, that person shall not participate in any discussion or voting on the subject matter creating the conflict of interest. So the statute doesn't, it's not saying that, you know, if there's a board member or maybe an employee who owns a business, they could still, if there's a program that the EDA has, they can still apply for, but they can't, at the point they become an applicant, then they're out as a,
They can't
A
vote for
board member.
themselves to get it.
yeah, what I'm saying is they should turn in their application and then stay out of it.
I don't
You
think
mean out of the EDA or just out of that?
out of the voting.
Out of that discussion and.
The statute says they can be a member,
But they
we're
should be out of
clarifying-
the room with any discussion
We're
going
clarifying
on.
that,
And we
yeah.
did talk about that at the last EDA meeting too, and that was, completely acceptable to everybody, and we thought that was good.
So basically, the city just becomes the funding mechanism.
Yep.
Well, not
And
completely.
appointing-
They-
And us money.
appoint who's on the board. And,
Well, you know.
I mean, EDAs serve a purpose, that's why they have an EDA.
But when you say,
The state allows for it.
the EDA does serve a very good purpose because it involves people from the business community and other areas that aren't sitting on this council, they're not at every meeting, but they have some really valuable,
I would agree with you in principle. I will disagree with you for the following reason. We have Winthrop Opportunities, which basically does the same thing that EDA does, and does a much more effective job than our EDA. No offense to our EDA people. They've brought more business than the EDA has. And my thought is, why should I pay for something when I can get it for free?
because the Winthrop Opportunities might disappear tomorrow. We don't know that, but the
Don't see
city
them
has a
disappear.
vested interest
There's
in
also
having
different
a
types of
healthy
funding that the
EDA.
EDA would
Yes.
qualify for
And the
that.
EDA director can still get those fundings for them.
No, not if you don't have, you have to have an EDA set up or an HRA.
Okay.
when you say they own the property, like, they being the EDA, I mean,
Part of the problem is that right now, the city, if the EDA says, wants to purchase something, it has to be in our name. That would change. If they want to purchase something, property, whatever, to start a new industrial park, it would be in their name, and they're the ones that handle the sale of it.
so do they handle all the funding to, I mean, other than asking us for the money to?
We don't fund it completely.
I
They have a
understand
budget
that. I
right now.
understand that.
They would ask
But I
us
mean-
for whatever percent, they would qualify for, and that's up to the council to give that to them or not, but they do have an operating budget now.
And I can see Dale's point. I wouldn't want to pay for something if I can get it free, but if we look at the history of our EDA, even since I've been here in 20 years, and when I first got on the council, we had a total in reserve when Dean Peterson was here of $5,000. So to compare that evenly with Winthrop Opportunities is not apples to apples. We hadn't been funding our EDA with any appreciable amount of money that they could actually do something with it to benefit the community until, Dave, I guess you were mayor, and, we were on the EDA, or maybe a little bit before then, where we actually started putting money in. And one of the reasons that we did that was because we wanted the ability to have land or a building or something available if a business did come to town, so we could make that quicker decision to get them in here and to be able to do things for them. That's something that the EDA can do. Also, by having funded the EDA like we have in the past many, many years, we've been able to help other businesses to the point to where we've actually made money with the EDA and helping to do that, to where almost half of what the EDA has now is money derived from the profits that we've gained from helping those businesses, and that's going to continue to happen. I see the EDA as, and what the city puts in as seed money, and the EDA, I think, has proven that it can take those monies and apply them where we get the best return for the community.
Well said.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
Dale says something about why pay for it, it gets up for free. What's free? I guess I didn't catch the free.
Well, if Winthrop Opportunities would be funding some of these projects.
Right, but there's nothing free there either.
We're not paying for it. The taxpayers are
Taxpayer.
not paying for it, Dave.
Not the
That's what I mean
taxpayer.
by free.
Okay. Okay.
I don't like seeing taxpayer money used.
Right, I understand,
For
but like
things
Rob just said,
that
there's
shouldn't be used
very, very little money in the EDA that has come from taxpayers. A lot of it has come from other sources.
And if the EDA makes use of taxpayer dollars to bring business in,
To pay taxes.
right, those businesses then pay taxes, which is, in the long run, a benefit to the taxpayers.
Well, and nothing off on Winthrop Opportunities, they do a valuable service for our community, but
Yes, they do.
they've got a little bit more of a profit motive to where the EDA would not have, where we can hopefully be able to develop a property or bring them a property maybe a little bit less than Opportunities does. Which, again, you know, if we're looking at, even if it's a few $1,000s and we're competing with a neighboring community, if we're able to offer them, because it's through the EDA at a lesser price, than maybe Opportunities is, that might make the difference as well.
And they have a completely different set of guidelines because they're not a public entity.
And we worked well with them. You know, there's things that they can't do on their own. There's things that we can't do on our own.
Well, I think you need an EDA. I don't think you can go without it. I think other small cities have an EDA board, and I think they have council members that are serving on it, but the city still controls the purse strings. They do the funding. So I think you still have control, but to get rid of the EDA, I don't think is doing the city of Winthrop any good.
Would you like a motion to get things moving?
It's up to you, if the
I move that
discussion.
we accept the resolution amending the resolution establishing the Winthrop Economic Development Authority.
I'll second that.
Motion made to go ahead and accept the new resolution. It's made by Julie and seconded by Rob. Is there any further discussion? Any further discussion? If not, we'll proceed to vote. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign.
Aye.
Okay, the next thing we have is appoint 2 members to the Winthrop Ambulance Service. Did you guys see their names?
Ed, you wanna?
Oh, go ahead, Ed.
If you guys have any questions on the 2 members, Jesse Gran, his wife is on our service now. He knows the commitment, understands the commitment. Noah Steiner's been in the community since he was about 4 or 5 years old.
Yep. Good guy.
Recently bought 2 houses in town, so he's not going anywhere, so we're just looking to add some depth to our service, and I'm hoping you approve them, because both of them are already registered.
Age 68, I believe, right?
I'll entertain a motion to go ahead and,
So moved.
motion made by Dale. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Mark. Is there any further discussion? Any further discussion? If not, proceed to vote. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Okay, Sledding Hill. Just bring us up to speed on that.
Steve Saxton has offered to let us lease some land from him behind Aaron Walton's law office. It was formerly owned by Dean Conklin. I've talked to Troy about it a little bit. I called the league as to far as what our liability is. They said as far as that would go, regardless if we own it or lease it, we have the same, you know, if it's a park, it would be
Liability.
considered a park if somebody got hurt. But he did suggest that we talk to Troy Walsh, who's our loss control, excuse me, person, to identify any potential hazards regarding there. He suggested that we would probably need some fencing, he would probably need some signage to go along with it. I don't know what's all involved with it. I did talk to Troy about it a little bit. I don't know how much time our staff has,
Shouldn't be.
you know, to do it. I don't know what it would cost to do it. I don't know what Steve would allow us to do on the land. You maybe, Dale, you maybe talked to him more than I have about it, so maybe you wanna talk a little bit.
Basically,
about-
Steve doesn't want to have to maintain the land. He'd like to see the city use it. We could cut down trees if we wanted to. That would be on us, our cost. He wouldn't do any modifications of land. He basically entered into a lease with us. We'd pay him a nothing fee, and it would be ours for whatever time we set up. He's amenable to the ski hill idea. We've also talked about possibly having an ice skating rink down in the bottom. I don't think the cost would be that much. We've talked about that in the budget meeting. We've got money sitting in parks to cover it. I think it would be a pretty good draw. The mayor,
Don't
go
we
ahead.
still have that rink?
No,
was
it's
donated
gone.
to us?
I thought we did. It's gone.
Oh, it's gone.
It's
Okay,
gone. It was,
okay.
but we
You and
could,
I talked about, I wasn't.
right, but we could put just a 1-foot high dirt berm and just have a skating rink.
Gotcha.
We don't have to have necessarily a hockey rink. Kids and youths and young adults will play hockey on any surface they can find if you got a surface. It's just another opportunity. I didn't look into the aspects of possibly putting it into CRP, where it could just, go fallow. It'd have to be burnt off every, 3 years? Is it 3 years for CRP?
More than that,
Is
it's
it-
like 5 or 7.
Yeah, it'd have to be burnt off, but it would give you basically a nature walking path. Maintenance-wise, they'd have to mow it once a year. The the sledding hill would have to be mowed prior to, snowfall. I didn't really look into a couple of things on it, but I don't think the cost would be much. I mean, you could basically use the driveway that goes down to get in there right now as a ski hill. That'd be the bunny hill, it's a little less angle, but,
So this is south of the law
yeah,
office then?
yeah.
If we had somebody, the loss control or whatever that person is, would we have to have a plan for him, showing the berms, showing where
And I could do
everything
that.
would be located?
Do that. I just didn't know if it had been through park, and that's why I didn't,
Essentially, he would come out and look
Right.
at it,
and tell us what would fly and what wouldn't
what we
fly.
would need to do.
Right.
Right, and if
You-
there's, what's that?
You'd have to have a minimum of maintenance on there, though, I mean.
Like I said, if you put
Yeah.
it into CRP, not really.
No, but I mean, if you put like you said, a warming house down there and stuff, you got.
Then you'd have to have some maintenance
Help
on it,
and-
right.
yeah,
You'd have to
yeah.
have, some repair on it, obviously, and
And that's something we could grow into as well.
Right.
If it turns out that we need that because it's so used, then that's something we'd want to develop
we could
out.
start off with 2 streetlights and, some signs and some green treated posts with some inner tubes on it, and,
Yeah.
if it gets real popular, then we can look at a shed. It's just have some lighting that maybe has a timer that shuts off at 9 o'clock, so the park's closed when the lights are off,
If you want, I can get a hold of Troy and see what.
Just an idea.
He has, what his recommendations are, get some costs together of what his recommendations would cost to bring back to you guys as a starting point.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I would hate to go ahead and approve it without really knowing some
Yeah, I'd like to
costs.
see us go forward with it, though.
I'm
I
also
mean,
one-
I like the idea
not to
of having a
continue.
skating rink down there too.
Yeah, very much so.
You know,
There
do
used
you
to be a
want,
lot of skating, but I don't know if any
Yeah,
skaters.
well,
left
that was
anymore.
my next question, how many people skate
How many
anymore?
people
You know,
skate?
You build
I
it,
think
they
it'd be a
will
big
come.
draw.
I think it
Skating
would.
rink would be.
I think it would.
Sledding and skating?
Skating, though, you need some warming,
And that's why you need a warming height. If you're gonna
Yeah,
do
they-
skating, you gotta have a place to change your boots, and you gotta have, that's where the cost comes in.
One question I have is I'd like to know how our city staff would cover that. I mean, it sounds great if it would be
Right.
not very much maintenance, but, it would need maintenance about the same time as all the streets and everything when we get a big snowfall like that. So,
Right.
is it feasible with our current staff?
Yeah.
Probably not. It's a lot of work to make ice.
If,
It's a lot of work. It's gotta be layered, layered, layered.
Part of
You
the
won't-
reason I ask that is because when I teach lessons out at Starland, they have they love to skate out there.
If
And
I
They
could-
have a very nice rink, but it's only usable about 2 or 3 weeks in the winter.
year, yeah.
Because it's,
That's the
yeah, it's hard to
drawback.
maintain.
what about, trying to get a volunteer organization to do the maintenance on it? Is that something that can be done on a city property?
Well, we do it with the ladies' garden
Flowers,
club
yeah.
and the flowers on the
'cause-
city streets and stuff.
Because, I'm into automation, we talked about the timers on the lights. We can have timed locks on the doors. I mean, the thing locks at 9 o'clock and, so we don't have to have a check on it. Just, little ideas, I'd like to see it go forward, but again, there's things that I haven't thought about.
They used to have retired service guys in the warming
Yeah.
hut in the winter.
I'm not saying I wouldn't be willing to help.
Tuffy aren't around
It's
anymore.
really ain't around anymore.
I'm not saying I wouldn't be willing to help,
No,
you
but, I
know?
mean, there was a lot of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, we,
But I don't, those are days gone by. too.
Right.
It could be written into the agreement if for some reason we start running into a lot of issues with personnel and so on. Sure. We just don't do it anymore either. I mean,
It would be a bottom priority, you know.
when we get there, you know? I mean, because I was thinking about the other night, if you put it at the warming shed, you could have the little deck. If you built it right, it's self-shoveling,
They'll start small.
you know? So then they don't have to maintain it. If you put it 10 feet off the curb, you know, it's, they can stick the bat wing out, make one, you know, back up, make one pass, and they're done. You know, trying to figure out how to set up where we don't put any work on the staff, so.
I'll get a hold of Troy Walsh and see what he suggests as far as,
Even for feasibility, whether, you know, liability-wise, are we will, you know, is it worth taking this on?
I think the liability part is okay. I don't think that it's setting us up, unless the skating, I didn't talk about the skating rink, I was just talking about the sledding hill. I don't know if that brings a different level.
I think you should ask about that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So,
Aaron said we're good to go.
okay.
I mean, I think, honestly, I think that'd be,
Ed will park the ambulance.
he actually did this, too. It says, take your cardboard box home.
can't they go in the law
Use the
office and
ambulance
switch
for
your
warming
skates? Yeah. Stay on extended hours.
You got a basement, right?
Quite honestly, that
Office.
would be a big draw for families.
I think it would. I really think it would.
I will get some more information and
If
bring
it's
it back to you
feasible.
next month.
All right.
I'll draw up a plan, so you can throw it at him, and so he's
Sure,
got some ideas.
That would be
so.
fine. So that's what I have, and yeah, I just didn't know where else to go with this, you know, so I figured, Steve's like, well, you don't need to bring it to the council yet. I'm like, well, I kinda need to get their.
Some direction.
Yeah,
Yeah, we'll have to figure out how much trees you'll have to
I don't think
make
it'll
sure
be
you
much.
get the
Yeah.
stumps out of there and.
Oh, no, come on, we make moguls on it.
All right. Moving on. Report, city administrator, you want to go over your report?
let's see, we received the final grant money for the observation well, that equipment will be ordered soon. I have not heard from Ms. Ambrose regarding that lot we tentatively sold, I'll try to get a hold of her.
Okay.
And see if they're still interested. We're trying to get through the permitting process for that storm sewer, collapsed storm sewer by DFA. We're having to deal with the railroads, so that's
Oh,
always.
good luck with that.
Yeah, adds a layer of interest to that. Let's see, I posted on the league listserv what other towns charge for lots on both residential and industrial, and I've had one response, and they're waiting to have it appraised. So I don't know, I'll keep working on it, but I don't have anything for you at this meeting regarding lot costs. Dana and I will be getting together soon to start putting together a complete count committee for the census. Rodney Fisher was interviewed for the planning commission, is recommended for appointment to the board. His name will be on the list for the reorganization meeting next month. EDA, I spent 25 hours on EDA. I helped with Christmas in the Country. That was a big one. All the staff has done a great job helping with Christmas in the Country. I completed the Music in the Park grant for next year. I lined up a speaker for Winthrop Opportunities Banquet in January. I attended a presentation put on by Minnesota Housing Partnership in New Ulm. And I attended the monthly deed meeting with Dana and Mankato that was talking about housing. That Julie and Rob met with our one candidate for the EDA board, Doug, and recommended his appointment. His name will be on the list for the January reorganization meeting. And that is all.
Aaron, did you have anything? You want to update us? No. Okay,
Good to go.
wonderful.
Was that, the warming house is in your front foyer? Oh, nice.
Okay, water and sewer, did you have any?
Probably I would say 98% of the residential water meters are in. Got a dozen for the commercial water meters. Just gonna start, schedule to put them in. That's about it on water and sewer. Electric, same, I'd say we're in the high 90s for residential. We have most of the commercial ones, we're just gonna have Chapman Electric come put them in.
So are we still on schedule for not having to read the meters in January?
Hopefully, yes.
And then we'll be getting something in the paper to let people know, or?
Well, most people know when we've changed them. They know. And then
Why's
they
my
call.
clock blinking?
Yeah, and then they call and say, do I still have to read my meter? So.
So
we've
if you
been in
have a new
contact
meter,
with-
you don't need to be reading it at this point?
Correct. Yep. They're already reading all the meters that have been
Okay.
installed. So, water and electric.
How long is that taking to gather the data?
To drive the route, I
Yeah.
basically circle the town, zigzag through, and they gotta run out and do the farm line.
Okay,
I'd say half hour.
that's it.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay.
Very nice.
Wonderful.
I can't wait till next year when we have a full year and we can compare
Yeah.
the year when we were making people read them yet versus the new year, so.
Plus the loss.
Plus the loss.
All the money you'll have.
And I have had some
the
comments and
correction.
concerns about some people having some higher
You're gonna.
They're
electrical
more
costs.
accurate meters.
They're gonna.
Yeah.
If you had one of
catching
the
up.
old meters, oh yeah, your bill's gonna go up. Yeah.
But it's not anymore, it's your usage.
It's your
Right,
usage,
exactly.
exactly.
It's not going up, you were getting a discount.
The older meters slow down.
Oh, yeah.
Right, yeah.
So It takes more water to make them turn, the electricity, the gears slow down, so it's just,
Something like the help, huh?
yeah. The
All
older,
the new-
the older I get, the slower I am, Pete.
All the new water meters have 10 gallons ran through them for accuracy, so every residential. So,
Very good.
Oh, easy streets.
Street Department, congratulations on your first big snow removal.
Good job.
Lots of good
done.
comments,
job.
too. Yeah, fantastic.
we figured it out.
Yeah.
And they all came to work today, so I was happy with that.
That's
It was a
great.
good run. It was also nice we didn't get that 7 to 12 inches, they said, so
Yes,
that helped.
that
But
second
still,
round.
you do the same passes, you just
Yep.
didn't have as much to deal with, so good job.
All right.
What happened to that truck? That you were gonna change the bodies, I suppose that,
Yeah, we sent it down to the quote, and then we signed some paperwork, and now we just gotta get it down to Lake Crystal. So,
so you're gonna take the body off that stubby and put it on?
yep, yep, we just.
Oh, no, I saw it running around Saturday, so I
Yeah,
thought-
no, everything's a go, we just gotta get the old fire truck down to Lake Crystal so they can strip it, and then when they're ready, we'll bring the other one down, so.
Any other questions for Street? Electric Department, we kind of covered most of that, but Pete, did you have anything you want to talk
No,
about?
other than that, they're pretty much done with the tower, and the wind should be going. They've got some hydraulics to put in, but it should be completely refurbished.
So all they did is replace the guts in that?
Yep,
And the blades.
Blades just?
the blades, and they're gonna paint it in the spring,
Okay.
so, yeah. And then we talked a lot about the renewable status of, arguing whether we should go with wind or solar, and, the solar is okay until we get batteries. I mean, they're kind of holding off for batteries, and they're trying to buy land in hundreds of acres instead of 40-acre sites, so that when you build a site, you don't have 40-acre site here and a 20-acre site here and 30-acre site there to maintain and stuff.
How many sites do they want to?
Oh, we want to get, we were hoping to get this year to be 100% renewable, but when Dodge Wind kind of fell through and stuff like that, it's going to take a little longer. It's to get the land. I mean, that's the other thing. Not too many farmers want to give up a 100-acre farm to put on glass.
farmland.
And stuff like that. So, but they're working on it. And the only other thing we talk about is, I don't know when we put it, but this renewables cost you $1 a month.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. It grew about 3%, but, we got like 14 people on the town. And just my personal thing is, people always want renewables and they don't want carbon and all this stuff, but they won't pay you $1 a month to have it done. So, I mean, but, but we're up to 3.3%. Not in town, the whole system, the whole total system, which is not very much.
Okay.
Do they send out reminders to people?
Yes,
Once
we
they
we
hear,
have
put 'em
a
out.
mailing a year at least, I think, yeah.
And then we usually get one or two people sign up, so.
And that is just to donate a,
No, they guarantee that you will be
To
credited
buy
with.
green energy.
To buy green energy.
Instead of, I'm okay with coal. God gave it to us for a reason.
all right, electrical department, oh, God, I'm past that. All right, anything else, Pete, are you good?
No,
All right, Troy, was there anything for fire department?
We ran our numbers for last year, last night. We go December to December for calls and that. Last year we had 27 calls, 9 fires, 9 car accidents, like 4 miscellaneous power lines, stuff like that, some CO calls, so. Just give you some numbers on that, and,
All that.
I know, it's out and about, but I'm not running for chief next year, so,
Okay.
I'm done, so.
Got some spare time then, huh?
Yeah.
So you can maintain the sledding, you know.
Yeah, I'll have plenty of spare time.
Oh, he just announced his candidacy for chief.
Ambulance, is there anything you want to update us on, Ed?
Well, just at our last meeting, we had a reorganization. I was voted in as captain. Verl Schmidt is our vice captain now. Carrie Paninsky is still our secretary. Miscellaneous. We did put a treasurer in there just because we have one in our bylaws that we have to have a treasurer, but right now we're trying to figure out what his role will be. So he's there, and then our supply person will be Katie, and maintenance is Miranda Bauer still. So that's that's our organization now. We closed out our year as well. We ran 225 calls last year, which is our largest call amount since, well, in 50 years since we started. We usually run between 180 and 195, so we're a good 30 calls over our.
It's on the back of your.
That's a lot of calls.
Yeah, it's a lot of calls. So
And personnel-wise, you have enough people to? cover?
personnel-wise, we're doing very well. Adding these two will help us out to possibly even give us a 5th crew. So we'll reduce a little bit more stress on our current numbers. So when the two pass the class, pass the test, provided we don't have any retirements at the same time, then we should be able to move to a 5th crew, so.
How long does it take them to be certified to do that?
The class starts, I believe, January 11th and goes to April 16th.
How many hours?
I don't know the hours, but then they gotta do.
It's 180. So January 13th to May 11th is the class in Mankato. They don't really give us an hours on it
Okay.
anymore.
That's all right, I was just curious.
Yeah.
If everything goes good and they get their runs in, they'll be certified by the 1st of June.
Yep,
You know, If
exactly.
they can start doing their runs while they're in school,
Yeah,
Oh,
as
they
soon
can.
as,
they can.
as soon as they're CPR certified, they can start doing ride-alongs.
Yeah,
with
when they
us.
make their
Oh,
quote
that's
on
good.
ride-alongs and they make their
So it's
pass,
concurrent with that.
they're
So
good.
Same
Okay.
time.
So no, Cheryl, I had a bloody nose one night, and Cheryl just demanded that I had to go in the ambulance because she needed a run. I said, no, I've got ice.
Is that why she hit you too? She
It
needed a
may
run?
have been, might have been my cooking, I don't know.
Police, how's everything going? Fine. I don't want to put you on the spot, but could you? No.
I just had
Thank
one
you.
more, I just had one more
Yes.
thing. Vikings and Seahawks are tied at 7.
It's
Go
closer
Eagles.
than I thought it was going to be. So Planning Commission, was there anything new in that?
Meeting.
Okay. Any report? No report. Cable, no report.
No information
All right. There being nothing else
yet.
on the
I have
agenda.
information,
What?
I just can't, I don't know what I'm allowed to say and what I'm not allowed to say, so I can't say anything right now.
And that'll come from Julie though, right?
Ours fiber, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, send me-
We're going back
you were supposed to, I'm on it.
to meetings
No, not
in
yet.
January.
I
Not
know,
till
but,
January.
I know, but,
That's when-
I'd like to see some
Okay.
The one
need to do
note I did
or
have
go,
is
that
that
kind
they
of
Oh, yeah.
schedule or something.
paid for the cost of the continuing
Thanks.
disability
Sorry.
that David Bond and Associates
Sorry.
provides. It's, I mean, it's required.
Right.
So one way or the other, it was gonna have to be paid, but ours fiber did pay the Joint Powers Board to cover that. So that was a step in the right direction.
Wow, okay, nice,
Very nice.
okay.
All right, there being no further business, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved, Mr. Mayor, with thanks to Mr. Mortensen for his service.
Yeah, I'd
on
like to thank you
council
too,
as well.
sir.
Good luck.
Thank you very much. Sorry it was so short, but.
Yeah.
You
So
did
are
good
we.
things. Well, you did.
So motion and second.
Oh, there's a motion made and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign.
You had already checked out, hadn't you?
I just thought there was gonna be a lot more thank yous and talking to you.
No, I'm sorry.
I finally got his